Grand Harbour, also known as the Port of Valletta, is a natural harbour on the island of Malta. It has been used as a harbour since at least Phoenician times. The natural harbour has been greatly improved with extensive docks and wharves, and has been massively fortified. Description: the harbour mouth faces northeast and is bounded to the north by St. Elmo Point and further sheltered by an isolated breakwater, and is bounded to the south by Ricasoli Point. Its northwest shore is formed by the Cyprus Peninsula, which is largely covered by the city of Valletta and its suburb Floriana. This peninsula also divides Grand Harbour from a second parallel natural harbour, Marsamxett Harbour. The main waterway of Grand Harbour continues inland almost to Marsa. The southeastern shore of the harbour is formed by a number of inlets and headlands, principally Ranella Creek, Calcara Creek, Dockyard Creek, and French Creek, which are covered by Calcara and the three cities, Cospicua, Vittoriosa, and Sengli. The harbour has been described as Malta's greatest geographic asset. With its partner harbour of Marsamxett, Grand Harbour lies at the centre of gently rising ground. Development has grown up all around the twin harbours and up the slopes so that the whole bowl is effectively one large conurbation. Much of Malta's population lives within a 3-kilometre radius of Floriana. This is now one of the most densely populated areas in Europe. The harbours and the surrounding areas make up Malta's northern and southern harbour districts. Together, these districts contain 27 of 68 local councils. They have a population of 213,722, which make up over 47% of the total population of the Maltese Islands. History: the Maltese Islands have a long history, mainly due to its strategic location and natural harbours, mainly the Grand Harbour as well as Marsamxett. The Grand Harbour has in fact been used since prehistoric times. Megalithic remains have been found on the shores of the Grand Harbour. The Cordon temples, the earliest of which date back to around 3700 BC, overlooked the harbour from Corradino Heights. Another megalithic structure possibly existed underwater off Fort St. Angelo, but this can no longer be seen. Punic and Roman remains were also found on the shores of the harbour. By the 12th and 13th centuries, the Castrum Maris had been built in what is now Birgu. It might have been built instead of ancient buildings, possibly Phoenician or Roman temples, or an Arab fortress. In 1283, the Battle of Malta was fought at the entrance of the Grand Harbour. Aragonese forces defeated a larger Angevin force and captured 10 galleys. The Grand Harbour was the base for the Order of St. John for 268 years, from 1530 to 1798. They settled in the city of Birgu and improved its fortifications, including rebuilding the Castrum Maris as Fort St. Angelo. In July 1551, Barbary corsairs and Ottoman forces raided Malta. They landed at Marsamxett and marched upon the Grand Harbour, but did not attack as they found the town of Birgu too well fortified to attack. Although this attempt was unsuccessful, the Ottoman force later managed to sack Gozo and conquer Tripoli within the same campaign. After the attack, Fort St. Elmo and Fort St. Michael were built to better protect the harbour in any future attacks. The city of Sengli was also founded soon afterwards. Later on in the 1550s, a tornado struck the Grand Harbour, killing 600 people and destroying a shipping armada. The area was the scene of much of the fighting in the Great Siege of Malta of 1565, when the Ottomans attempted to eject the Order of St. John but were ultimately defeated. After the siege, the capital city of Valletta was built on the Cyprus Peninsula on the northwest shore of the harbour. Over the years, more fortifications and settlements were founded within the Grand Harbour, including Fort Ricasoli and the towns of Floriana and Cospicua. During the French occupation of Malta, the harbour area was blockaded by Maltese rebels on land and the Royal Navy at sea. The French eventually capitulated in September 1800 and Malta became a British protectorate, later a colony. During the British colonial rule, the harbour became a strategic base for the Royal Navy and the base of the Mediterranean Fleet. The whole area was savagely bombed during the Second Siege of Malta during World War II, as the docks and military installations around the port were legitimate targets for Axis bombers. However, collateral damage wrecked much of Valletta and the three cities, and caused large numbers of civilian casualties. Malta dockyard is still active, but with the departure of the British military, the harbour lost much of its military significance. A considerable part of Malta's commercial shipping is now handled by the new free port at Calafrana, so the harbour is much quieter than it was in the first half of the 20th century. A vision for Malta's Grand Harbour. The Grand Harbour, the backdrop to Malta's history, is set to experience a regeneration as in September 2007. The Maltese government unveiled 20 proposed projects that would revamp the area while respecting its historic value. The 20 proposals are these: a new cruise liner terminal in Sengli, extending the Valletta cruise liner terminal, one promenade from Ricasoli all the way to Sengli, new yacht marina in Calcara, conversion of Sepul Boffa Hospital into a hotel, a new tourism and cultural sector, a centre for the audiovisual industry in Fort Ricasoli, restoration of Villa Biggie, super yachts along the Sengli waterfront, discontinuing the cleaning of tanks, a commercial maritime park, Maritime Institute, maritime services, closing down the Marsa Power Station, afforestation of the Ranella Valley, Ranella Creek, new maritime infrastructure in Calcara, the reorganization of Zat Il Molagiet, extension of key infrastructure in Corradino, a base for towing services in Zat Il Nijar, around the Grand Harbour from Fort Ricasoli to Fort St. Elmo, Fort Ricasoli, Ranella Bay, Biggie, Calcara Creek Marina Road, Calcara Strand, Calcara Mandrag Strand, Burgu, Fort St. Angelo, Dockyard Creek or Cotonera Marina Street, Angelo Strand, Burgus at Il Forn, Burgus at IRRISQ, Burgus at San Lorenz, Burgu Dock No. 1, Bormlas at 1B, Azapadi, Sengli, Fort St. Michael, French Creek Dock No. 2 Ghaj Wheely Road, Corradino Dock No. 6, Ras Hanzir Point, Newport Shipwrights Wharf, Parola Dock No. 7 Zat Il Molagiet, Albert Town Church Wharf, Marsa Il Menka Bridge Wharf, Marsa Braken Wharf, Marsa Il Mol Talhated, Marsa Mol Ic Kangartura, Marsa Zat El Garcera Talgenab, Marsa Valletta Waterfront or Pinto Wharf, Floriana, Lascaris Wharf, Valletta, Zat Il Barriera, Valletta, TAHT is IML, Fort St. Elmo, Gallery, Ricasoli Breakwater Calcara, Fort Ricasoli Calcara, Ranella Bay Calcara, Biggie Calcara, Calcara Creek Calcara and Burgu, Fort St. Angelo Burgu, Dockyard Creek Burgu, Cospicua and Sengli, Cotonera Marina Burgu, Dock No. 1 Cospicua, The Spur Sengli, French Creek Sengli, Cospicua and Parola, Dock No. 2 Sengli, Dock No. 4 Cospicua, Dock No. 6 Cospicua, Dock No. 7 Cospicua, Shipwrights Wharf Parola and Marsa, Bridge Wharf and Marsa Power Station Marsa, Brayakan Wharf Marsa, Zat El Garcera Talgenab Marsa and Floriana, Valletta Cruise Port Floriana, Valletta Waterfront Floriana, Zat Lascaris Valletta, Zat Il Barriera Valletta, Trick Il Lanka Valletta, Fort St. Elmo Valletta, St. Elmo Bridge Valletta, Valletta Breakwater Valletta,